Welcome back to episode 135 of the ATD Baseball Podcast. We are here the Monday after 4th of July. Hopefully, all of you guys had a nice weekend. It felt like it was Saturday for like 3 days straight um, over the weekend because the 4th of July was Friday. And then you had the rest of your weekend. So hopefully, and then most people, they started doing it on Thursday, the 3rd. So hopefully, you guys all had a nice 4th of July weekend with lots of fireworks, and hopefully, none of you blew off your fingers or your hands or anything like that, because that would not be good. So, hopefully, you did it responsibly. But we're back today. We have stuff that we want to discuss. We got All Star stuff. We got a shake up in Washington, and of course, our two teams. But before we get into all that today, Kyle, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Obviously, I hope everybody listening had a great 4th of July. Yeah, no, I mean, I say it a lot, but, working for a school, I get a lot of time off, so that was no different. I had a 4-day weekend. It was definitely nice while it lasted. But yeah, no, it definitely did feel like every day was like a Saturday. I was just kind of waiting to get back to work, kind of. And yeah, but overall, it was pretty good, man. Can't complain too much. Now, on the baseball front, I have a lot to say about my very specific baseball team that can't seem to fucking win a game to save their life. But other than that, I am doing great, man. How are you?
Uh, doing good, doing good. I'm sure, as a lot of you have seen over the last couple of days, I haven't shaved in like almost 2 weeks, and I am ready to get this off. The only reason why I haven't shaved yet is because Kyle told me last Monday, you gotta wait until you see me again on Monday, then you can do what you want.
Absolutely.
Now, believe me, when I came home yesterday after working 6 straight days, I wanted to shave it off so bad. I really did. But Kyle doesn't ask for a lot. He doesn't ask me to do a lot, so when he asks me to do something like that, you kind of have to do it. You can't just be a dick and just, no, I'm gonna shave. Screw that. So,
I appreciate it, man.
um,
I appreciate it
yeah,
because it's it's so weird, man. The I mean, we're coming up on almost 4 years of knowing each other here, and I've never seen you once with a beard, so it's definitely a change, and it's something I wanted to see. So I appreciate it.
yeah, no problem. But like I said, I can't wait after we're done here. I'm gonna go upstairs and take a nice shave, and it's gonna be amazing. But other than that, yeah, doing good. I had a nice 4th of July. I was working, but still, hey, I get paid double that day, so I'm not complaining. I can be there for as long as you want. I don't give a shit. So I didn't like watching my team get absolutely pounded, 18-1. Friday, that was not fun, and the whole weekend there was not fun. But um, we'll touch my team obviously at the end. Got to see history Wednesday night with Clayton Kershaw. That was pretty cool. After didn't look like it was gonna happen, but again, we'll touch on that at the end. And I've been frying myself again with MLB The Show when I got home yesterday at 4:30, and this morning frying myself with the game again. So there was cards that I had to get caught up on. There was a 99 Kershaw I had to get. There was a 97 Player of the Month Juan Soto that I needed to get, and I'm working on getting a 95 U Darvish to fill out my rotation. But um, other than that, yeah, I'm doing extremely well, and I'm off. I don't go back to work. The Dodgers are not home until the 18th next Friday. I am done with the first half of the Dodgers' home schedule, which is insane to say. It feels like we just got started
Yeah.
last month. And I can't believe that we're going to be at the All Star break Sunday. I can't believe that we're done with the first half of the baseball season this week. It's crazy. It's
Mhm.
absolutely crazy. I've told my parents this and I've told my coworkers this. I started working at Dodger Stadium in 2022. And ever since that first year, it seems like every single year it goes quicker and it goes faster. That
Mhm.
that that's the sense I've gotten every single year after my first year in 2022. It goes a little quicker, it goes a little quicker, and sure enough, this year it's more of the same. I'm done with the first half of the home schedule, and it's absolutely crazy. But um, we'll get off of that. Hopefully that'll slow it down a little bit because I'm talking about it more. But we'll see. The topics that we got today, of course, All Star Game. The rest of the reserves and the pitching got announced yesterday, and a lot of people were not happy with some of the selections that were made. I have one off the top of my head that many people are probably not going to agree with, but because they just don't like the Dodgers or they just think I'm biased. But I think he should be there, and I think it's a joke that he's not. But we have a couple more additions to the home run derby. You know, the derby is a week from today, and I still think we have to fill out half of the field. I think
Yeah.
we still need four more hitters. I think because I know it's Acuna, it's I can't even think of the other three now. Jesus, but I know Buxton,
Rowley.
Acuna, Rowley. Yeah, that's the one. I was like, did he commit? I'm sure he did. But
Yeah. And then
um,
James Wood was the
and
other
then
one.
James Wood. There you go. Those are the two ones that just happened. But we still have half of the field left, and the Derby's in a week. So hopefully they can figure out to get four more players to do it. And then we have a shakeup in Washington. And speaking of James Wood, shakeup in Washington. The GM and the manager both out in Washington. And then, of course, we'll touch on our two teams as always, as we do every single week. Starting up at the top, like I had mentioned to you just a moment ago, the All Star Game reserves and pitchers were announced, and pretty much the full team is out there. And I think the last time that we had done this, the starters were not announced yet either. So, um, listen, I think the National League has a pure better roster. Like I'm gonna put it out there in the universe right now. If the National League can't win the All Star game this year, I just don't know what to say anymore. Now I know 90% of the people probably don't care about the outcome of the All Star game, but I do. Mainly, like I said, growing up in the National League where we would always get our ass kicked every single year, you know.
Hmm.
But just looking on paper, like the National League clearly has the better team going into the All Star game this year in Atlanta. And if we can't find a way to win it, this one, I'm going to be super disappointed. That's my takeaway. But I don't know where you want to go with it. But if you want to name the players, I don't know. But just that's my first take as I was looking at all these rosters to start.
Yeah, no, for sure. I do agree with you. I definitely think the National League has a stronger roster. And we kind of expected that going into the start of the season, even because the American League was not up to par with the National League. There's just not as much competition in the American League. I kind of just want to run down a few players here who got some much well deserved respect out of Major League Baseball, whether it's the pitchers or whether it's the reserves. Um, I'm going to start off just, very quickly thinking Shane Smith here with the Chicago White Sox. That's a huge one for me. Now, obviously, don't get me wrong, the White Sox don't have much to choose from. But they got it right with Shane Smith. He has been an absolute dog this year in that starting rotation, and he has kept them in games. You can't ask much more from a guy like that. Um, and I really like to see Jacob DeGrom getting back in it. That was good, man. Obviously he's one of the all-time greats of our generation. I mean, watching this guy pitch back when he was with the Mets was just ridiculous, and we're getting a taste of that again. Um, I would say Chris Bubik of the Kansas City Royals. That's another one. He's had a hell of a year. Um, Matthew Boyd was another one for the Chicago Cubs. His story is it's pretty damn cool. Want to say it's that's pretty much it for the pitchers for me. Just kind of scheming through here. I really don't have too much else. It's pretty cool to see Clayton Kershaw get in with the commissioner's pick. Um, we're clearly. I mean, we're going to touch on it later too. He just reached 3,000 strikeouts, so he's probably going to be calling it a career real soon. So for the fact that he gets to go to another All Star game, I think is pretty cool. Now looking at the reserves here, there's definitely some question marks regarding this American League side. Now, this is where I want to put my first snub, in my opinion. and that's gonna go to. I really hope I don't butcher this name. Junior Caminero of the Tampa
Yep.
Bay Rays.
Camillario, same thing.
Yeah, he he should have been on this roster. I mean, this kid came out and absolutely tore it up, and he's a huge reason why the Rays are still fighting for the American League East right now. Um, I like to see Jonathan Aranda get the respect out of Tampa Bay as well, but I definitely think Caminero should have been should have been an All Star. Um, and I would say one or two more from the National League, reserve wise, and they both hail in Chicago. Seiya Suzuki and Michael Bush, I feel should have had a place. I mean, Seiya Suzuki especially. I'm going to touch on him because he's the leader in all of baseball in runs batted in RBI. So for the fact that he's not on this list, it kind of rubs me the wrong way. Trey Turner was another one. Um, yeah, that's kind of my whole thought process, man. I mean, coming back to it, kind of just circling around and ending up my discussion on this is it's there's definitely some snubs. There's definitely some players who I believe are kind of questionable who are in here. Um, but yeah, no, definitely think the National League is stronger, and we'll I have a feeling it's not going to be close come the All Star game, but yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents on the All Star game, and obviously we'll do a deeper dive into this as the weeks go. Well, as next week goes on, and we get closer to the All Star break. But this is just like a quick like run around of the reserves, pitchers, things like that was announced. So yeah, that's kind of just my immediate thoughts.
Yeah, and I'll continue the theme with the snubs. You guys all pretty much know what I'm gonna say. It is a joke that Andy Pages did not make this team.
Yeah,
Sorry, but it is. Batting 290, 17 home runs, 58 RBIs, like almost has 100 hits. Like I don't know what more you could be asking. What more could you be asking for? That's what I don't understand. Um, he's been right up, if not on par, with some of the other National League All Star outfielders that got chosen.
yeah,
Now, I do think Andy Pages will still find his way on this team because obviously now that all the rosters are out, this is the last week. Unfortunately, injuries do happen, and I'm not saying before any of you people take this out of context, I am not rooting for injury here. I don't want anyone to twist my words as Melo's cheering for injury just so Andy Pages can get on the team. No, I'm not cheering for that. But also things happen to where hey, like maybe there's somebody that just either can't make the trip or already had something set up with their family. Like, damn, like, as much as I would love to go to the All Star game, you know what? I'm going to skip it this year. Thanks for the recognition. I'll take the jersey, but let somebody else go, who's actually going to be there and want to go, So maybe that's where Andy Pages finds his way on this team. But to me, he should have been at least a reserve.
hmm
I was waiting on ESPN yesterday for his name to get announced. And once they announced it, I'm like, you're missing somebody here. Like, what's going on? Andy Pages, like, hello, you know. You touched on it too a second ago. It is really cool that Clayton Kershaw got the commissioner's pick, like the Legends pick. Remember, they first started doing this in 2022 when the game was at Dodger Stadium, and they put um, Albert Pujols and Miguel Cabrera on the team. So it does again. It makes me sad though because, and again, I'll touch on this a little bit later when we get to Kershaw, but maybe this is the last year. You know, hey, maybe this is it. And I think I'm ready for that, but then I'm also not. Because this guy's been a staple of Dodger baseball my whole life. Since I was in elementary school,
yeah,
and to think that this could potentially be his final time as an All Star in his final major league season kind of makes me a little sad. But
absolutely, yeah,
um, I'm happy that he's gonna get the recognition he deserves, and he's gonna be um, there with the other All Stars in Atlanta. Now, obviously, I don't think he's gonna pitch or anything like that. At least I hope he doesn't, you know. But
yeah.
um, it is cool that he's gonna be part of the festivities, and um, yeah. But just looking at the rest of these these teams, man. I mean, like I said, the National League clearly has the advantage. I really believe that this time around, and hopefully, yeah, it looks good on paper now, but then we get to the game, and then these guys start playing. It's like, oh shit, here we go again. You know, there's a stigma with the National League that no matter what happens, we always seem to lose.
Mhm.
And hopefully that changes this year. But um, who would you say is your All Star Game pitching matchup right now?
Ooh, that's a good one. Um, okay, I'm gonna give you what I think versus what I want.
What you want? Hmm.
Okay. So what I think it's gonna be Terry Skubal against Paul Skeens. I think
I agree.
that's what it's kind of gearing up to. These are the two best pitchers in their respective leagues. That's what it comes down to. And I feel like Major League Baseball would kind of be dropping the ball if they don't have that as the matchup. Um, Now looking at it, of what I want Jacob DeGrom starting for the American League.
Yeah,
I want Jacob DeGrom for the American League. Give me DeGrom against, just to completely have fun with this. Give me DeGrom against Chris Sale. That's what I would want. Now, obviously, I don't see a world where that happens. The two old guys going at each other. But if I yeah, like I said, if I had to guess, it's Scooball against Skeens.
yeah. The one, yeah, I agree with you. I do think uh your pitching matchup will be Skeens, and it will be um Schoolball, which a lot of people were upset. Or no, was it? Yeah, a lot of people thought Schoolball should have had it last year, but
Yeah.
instead they gave it to Corbin Burns in
Hmm.
Baltimore. But um, what I want, okay, okay. Listen, this is completely going off the deep end bias mellow. I want Yamamoto, but that's not happening. So we're not doing that. We're not
Yeah,
doing that. Um, Give me Zach Wheeler and give me Gary Crochet.
I like that.
That to me, that's my fun one right there. Give me
Yeah.
that one, or give me Wheeler and give me Freed.
Hmm.
I wouldn't be mad at that one. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be mad at that one. But yeah, I do think it is going to be Skeens and it is going to be Schoolball. I think Schoolball is a lock. Now I got to see when he's pitching again this week,
Hmm.
because if he for some reason gets lined up to where he pitches Saturday or Sunday, there's a good chance he's not going to be out there Tuesday starting. But
There is a chance.
that
I mean, he did pitch yesterday. I know that.
okay, so he probably pitches Thursday, Friday,
That could line
something
him
like
up.
that. Yeah.
Could line him up.
So, um, yeah. So congratulations to all the All Stars. Like I said, man, this is still a big deal. I know the All Star game has kind of lost its luster a little bit in the last couple of years, but
Hmm.
this is still a big deal, man. It still is. And
Yeah.
again, I like the fact that these teams are going to be wearing their respective jerseys on the field Tuesday night. I think
Yeah.
that's fantastic that they've gone back to that, and they never should have got rid of it. But um, yeah, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun, and uh, it's crazy, but I can't believe Lindor first time as a Met All Star. I knew that, but then I also couldn't wrap my brain around it. I'm like,
Yeah.
how has Lindor's been here since I think what, like 2019, something like that, something like
Somewhere around
that.
there. Yeah.
And how is this his first time as a Met as an All Star? That's crazy to me. That's
Hmm.
crazy. And I'm happy Freddie Freeman got the starting nod for the Dodgers, not just because he's on my team, but because he's gonna go back to Atlanta. The game's in Atlanta, and he's gonna start. And again, I've been banging this drum for the last couple of years, and part of it was because Dodger fans were so lazy to vote. But
Hmm.
I'm so glad Will Smith is finally starting in the All Star game. I am so happy about that because to me, he's been the best catcher in the National League for like 2 years now. and he
Hmm.
hasn't started. So
Yeah.
finally, he's gonna get his due. He's gonna get his due um, in starting in the All Star game. And I'm gonna give you now when they announced the starters last week. Obviously, all the Dodger infielders made it to the end, and they had the chance to all be starting. And I told you, if the National League wanted any chance of winning this year, you needed to have Freddie, Edman, Mookie, and Muncy in there. You didn't do that. So now we're gonna see. Now you're gonna see. So, our only chance of winning this All Star game was having all Dodgers out there. You're defending world champions. Now, instead, we're gonna have this. So we're gonna see. Hopefully, I'm wrong because I'm a National League guy and I want my league to win. But if we lose again, you're gonna hear from me about this, and you're gonna pay for this. You will. All you non-voters that don't want Dodgers in there. Why not? All we do is win. And don't we want to win the All Star game? I thought that's what we wanted to do here. Just saying. You know,
Makes sense. Yeah.
just saying. Yeah. Nice to see. I heard a lot of people that said Julio Rodriguez shouldn't have been on this team. I heard a lot of that. I
Yeah.
heard some Tatis going around that he shouldn't have been on. Aaron Judge. No, just kidding. Aaron Judge was not a part of that. Believe me, he was not a part of that discussion. Um, so yeah, so there's your All Star game, and kind of switching over to the Derby too. Byron Buxton announced about maybe 2 hours ago that he was going to do it, and James Wood. So we have 4 out of 8 contestants, and we have 4 spots remaining, and this is starting to shape up. But this is kind of the other than Acuna, this is kind of turning into the guys that hey, like, well, Buxton is kind of like don't forget about me, but with
Yeah.
James Wood and Cal Raleigh, there's going to be a lot of people that maybe haven't seen them a lot or they're seeing them for the first time, and that's exciting. That's good for the sport. Grow your players. That's what we're trying to do here, and having one of the best hitters in the American League this year in Kyle Raleigh and do the home run derby, I think that's good for the sport, and I hope he goes out there and he puts on a good show. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of what I've gotten from this so far. You don't. I mean, yeah, you have Acuna in there, but the other three guys, like, they're not. I mean, listen, and this is no disrespect to these guys. It's just the way it is. They're not necessarily household names, and
it can
I
be.
mean, yeah, they definitely can be, and
Put
I
on a good
definitely.
show, and you will be.
Absolutely. James Wood, I think he's on his way there. Just and we'll touch on that in a little bit, but I definitely think he's the heart and soul of that Washington team, and I think he's going to continue to flourish into a superstar. Buxton, if it wasn't for the damn injuries, and I think Raleigh, he's finally just putting it together. He's finally getting all of his tools, and we're seeing what he can do in Seattle. So these guys can all be huge household names and be superstars in this league, but for one way or the other, they haven't been quite yet. So that's kind of like the gist of this home run derby that I'm getting, and I think it's cool, man. I always like seeing the more underrated players participate in things like this because it's a way of like putting them on the big stage without like needing the voting with the All-Star game, needing needing to pop 50 homers a year just to get their name recognized. So I definitely think it's cool. And I really think James Wood could be a huge underrated in this home run derby. I definitely think he can be. Um, he's such a cool dude, man. I mean, he's so damn good, and I love watching him play, and I think what he's doing in Washington is phenomenal. But yeah, I mean, overall, obviously, there's not too much to touch on with the home run derby. Just giving you guys the update of who's in it and what we kind of think. So yeah, I mean, there's not too much to touch on, but I like the way it's going, and I can't wait to see it.
Um, without knowing the other 4 players that will participate in the derby next week, would you, if you had to pick a favorite, would you pick the 4 that you already know, or would you pick the other 4 that are unknown?
Mm, that's a good question. Um, I think I'm gonna go with the four that's already been named. I mean, you got some big. I mean, you got some heavy hitters in here. Buxton, we all know what he can do when he's healthy, and he's been playing pretty good this year. And um, for the most part, is what we know. He's healthy. So I mean, this guy, he has that potential. So I think he can put it together. James Wood, I already touched on him. Ronald Acuna, I don't need to touch too much on him because of the superstar that he is. And then Cal Raleigh, he speaks for himself. I mean, he's the major league home run leader right now. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's gonna be like Major League Baseball being like, "Yo, we need you to participate in this. Just let's go." I don't know if it's gonna be like a rush thing because I mean we only have four participants right now, so that's gonna heat up in the next couple of days, and I don't know if it's gonna be like a frantic thing trying to find players to put it together. It shouldn't be, but you never know what's going on behind closed doors. So I'm gonna take what's proven right now, and I think I'd go with the four that have already been named.
Ronald Acuna is on his last legs here with this derby. If he pulls out a stinker again Monday, he should be banned from the home run derby
I get it.
because he stunk up the joint when I was in left field at Dodger Stadium. I was looking for a show, didn't get it, and I think he did it one other time too, and he wasn't good either.
Hmm.
But he's on his last legs with this. If he
Yeah.
doesn't do well in front of the home fans in Atlanta, he should not be in the home run derby ever again. But we'll see. Hopefully he does. Hopefully he does well. Um, Going to other kind of stuff, more of the business side of things. The Nationals shook up their tire they fired the manager and they fired the GM. Um, the first thought that comes to mind, I thought they should have done this a year or two ago.
Yeah.
Like I thought, now listen, it better late than never, I guess, but it made sense why they did this now. 4-6 in their last 10 games. They lost three in a row. They're almost 20 games under 500. And yeah, they're gonna be remembered for that World Series win in 2019, and trading Juan Soto and getting all those pieces back. But they haven't taken that next step yet. And I think a lot of people by now in 2025, like I just said this a week ago, I wasn't expecting the Nationals to be a postseason team this year, but I didn't think they would be dead last in the National League East either. So I think it was time. Obviously, those are two staples of your organization because they brought you your first championship in the franchise's history. But it's the right move, and it was time to just pull the plug and start over. Like they're gonna be remembered for the World Series win, and like I just mentioned ago, the Juan Soto trade and getting all those pieces back in return, and now you're starting to see them blossom on the field. But other than that, hasn't really been too much else to be overly impressed by, you know. So yeah, I feel for Nationals fans, but seeing a lot of Nationals fans, they're kind of okay with it. They're okay with it. They were ready to move on from both guys, and hopefully now they can get the right pieces and the right manager in there and get the GM, and they can start competing again. Because I was expecting the Nationals to be a little bit better, and I thought they'd be on a little higher trajectory by this point, and that hasn't happened at all yet.
No. Yeah. I Okay. Here it is. So the Nationals named they did find their interim manager, which is Miguel Caria, um, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe he filled in. Sorry, where was this? Here it is. Okay, during his time as the White Sox bench coach, he went 18-16 as the team's acting manager for the final 34 games of the 2022 season. So we we don't know if this is the long-term solution or maybe he'll go back to a bench coach, whatever that looks like. But for the time being, that is your manager. I like that he has a little bit of big league experience, managing a ball club, so that's pretty good. But I feel I'm in the same boat as you. I feel like this should have happened a little bit ago, but the biggest part and the biggest takeaway that I'm going to take away from this whole spiel of Washington is they didn't wait too long. That's the big thing. So you have James Woods, C.J. Abrams, Mackenzie Gore, the prize prospects that you got in return for Juan Soto. Um, they are just beginning into their primes and into their years as nationals. So it is not at all too late to be doing this, which is huge. So we kind of knew it was going to happen, seeing how this season was going. I didn't know if it was going to happen now, like it has been, or if it was going to wait till the end of the year. But um, yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat too. I thought Washington was going to be a whole lot better this year. Not a playoff team, but better. I thought they were going to be that sneaky team that could knock off a game or two from the Dodgers, a game or two from the Phillies, the Mets, those type of teams. So it obviously hasn't panned out, and I think it was the right move. It's time to move on. It's time to get some new minds in there. Yankees take notes, but yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of my overall thought process on this, and I'm kind of chalking Washington season up. There, it's kind of it. I mean, we're going to the All Star break, and they're dead last in a absolute gauntlet of a division. So, yeah, I don't see Washington making any noise this year, and they can kind of plan for next year. Whether that's keeping Miguel Cario as their manager, or if it's finding the GM, finding a new manager, whatever that looks like. But no, I mean, I would say it's kind of positive for Washington fans. You're getting some new faces in there, some and you have such a young core. I mean, you have a pretty good young core that you can build around and continue to make some noise. So overall, I think it was the good move, and yeah, we'll see where it goes.
Shifting to our teams here. Um, if you want me to go first or you want to go first, it really doesn't matter because
Yeah,
I don't want to talk about the series against the Astros over the weekend.
I guess I'll go first. Mine's gonna be kind of just a little bit quick. Um, quick, but kind of a rant too. I mean, what the hell are we doing here, man? I mean, my God, you lose first place in the AL East, and you absolute fucking shit show of a week. I mean, I'm gonna pull up their standings here because I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I haven't been tuning into many Yankee games over the last week, especially after that Toronto series. Last week I had said that we were going into a four-game series against Toronto and then a three-game series against the Mets, and it was kind of I said one of the biggest things I said was you have to be careful or else you are going to get jumped in this division. And guess what? They went on to get swept. Um, and then they lost two out of three against the Mets. So an absolute shit show. 3-7 in their last 10, and of course the Blue Jays got hot just at the right time. They're 49-41, tied with the Rays for second place. They're 3 games back at Toronto now. Yeah, man. I mean, this team overall just has been absolute shit in the bed. The starting rotation looks terrible. I mean, the lineup's not hitting for shit, and the bullpen they're taxed, man, and it showed a lot. Mark Leiter Jr., Tim Hill, Devin Williams. I mean, all of them. In the bullpen they weren't putting it together, and then of course you have Clark Schmidt. He now requires Tommy John surgery. You're losing. You're losing. I believe he had just over a 3 ERA on the year. You're losing a guy who was third, fourth in your rotation. I mean, that's such a big thing. And you continuously play a second baseman at third base. I'm sorry, but I hear a lot of Yankee fans shitting on Jazz Chisholm for his defense. Well, listen, Aaron Boone's the one who's putting him out there at the hot corner every single day when the man is a natural second baseman. And we've seen what he can do at second base because we played him there at the beginning of the year. I mean, he's clearly a second baseman, and he's doing everything right with the bat. He just earned an All-Star nod. He's doing what he needs to, but you know, I don't fault Jazz for his defense because he's not a third baseman, man. I mean, yeah, he'll go out and play, but naturally he's just not a third baseman, and it shows because the Yankees are now on the trade market for a third baseman. Um, it it sucks where they're at, man. I'm not gonna totally say that they're out of a playoff spot or anything like that because I think that's just a little too crazy. but they got to watch. That's all I'm saying. Because if they continue to play like this and not putting it together, the Rays have showed that they're playing pretty good baseball this year, and they can overtake them. And you got to watch for a wild card, man. Um, Overall, I mean, I kind of knew the Yankees would take a step back this year, but the way they do it every single year is what pisses me off. You put hope into your franchise, into your fans, and everything else, and then they just shit the bed halfway through June, halfway through July, whatever the case may be. Um, and who knows, man? If they're not careful, they're not going to make the postseason, and then it's going to be back to square one with this team. And I don't know, man. After seeing Washington and what they're doing, I've been calling for Boone's job for a couple of years now. And Cashman's been riding that line so much over the last few years. He continues to put a pretty good product on the field, but it's never enough to get him over the hump. And we seen it last year in the World Series, and years and years before that. And if it wasn't for the Astros kind of falling off a little bit, Yankees wouldn't have found themselves in that spot last year. So, we'll see where it goes, but it's not looking good, man. Like I said, I'm itching and clawing for this All-Star break. I think the Yankees need a rest, man. They need a reset, and I'm hoping and praying Brian Cashman can put the right pieces in this team at the trade deadline. However, there's not too many pieces on the trade deadline right now, or on the trade market. I mean, obviously, hear names swirling around, but I don't know if it's anything enough to put the Yankees over the top. You still have Garrett Cole out for the year, and Luis Heel is, taking steps back in his throwing program. Still haven't seen anything of him. He won Rookie of the Year last year. But no, we'll see where it goes, man. But this lineup's not hitting, and the pitching just stinking it up, man. So it's a tough watch right now. It really is. Sucks, but it is what it is, and we'll play another day. But yeah, man, it sucks being a Yankees fan right now because I kind of seen it from the beginning of the year. I didn't have much hope in this team. They kind of pushed me into it a little bit there, and then this ultimately happened again. So again, it's not the complete end of the world. They only find themselves 3 games back, but coming up, you have Seattle, who's just as good of a team as you are, and then you have shit the Cubs. Then you have the Cubs. So for the fact that you have these two teams that are extremely, I mean, Seattle's right there with the Yankees, and then of course Cubs or the Cubs. So yeah, it's tough, man. But can't wait for the All Star break and kind of just moving forward from there. And that's what I have on the Yankees, man. It's not much, and it's just not looking good now. Before you switch to the Dodgers here, I just want to put it a little tidbit here on Clayton Kershaw. Just give you my real quick thoughts. Um, yeah, I mean, it was such a cool thing to watch. I mean, Clayton Kershaw was one of those guys that growing up, I mean, I saw him from afar, totally not what you've seen, but it was always a guy that I appreciated, always. And I wanted to, before you started, going into your Dodgers here, I wanted to give a quick shout out to him because, I mean, he's an absolute legend of the game. And I made the graphic of Kershaw's career achievements the other day, and I was typing it out and I was making the graphic. I'm like, damn, dude, holy shit! Like when you actually look back at some of these guys' career, like Clayton Kershaw, you truly do see what kind of player he was, and then it's like, damn, I never noticed in the moment how good he really was. And I think 3,000 strikeouts the other day kind of just made me reflect on that. So I don't take it for granted. And congrats to Clayton Kershaw, absolute first ballot Hall of Famer, and hope the best for him. I don't know. There's obviously been no talk or anything, but if this is his last year, if it is, we'll see you in Cooperstown, man. Amazing career, and I can't wait to see the rest of your career play out. Truly.
Yeah, and staying on that note and flipping over to the Dodgers side, I'll start right here with Clayton Kershaw. Keep the good vibes going here with him. That was I never a doubt. And I told my coworkers, because obviously his previous start against the Rockies, he was 7 strikeouts away, and or I think he was 8. He was either 7 or 8, one of the two. He was cruising, and he only had like 60 something pitches in the 6th inning, and he could have easily gone out there, pitched 2 more innings, and get those last 3 strikeouts and get it there. But of course, Clayton Kershaw and Dave Roberts, and I'm sure the organization wanted him to get it done at Dodger Stadium in front of the home crowd. And I was telling my coworkers when I walked in there, knowing Kershaw, he's not going to make this easy.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, that's what happened. He had like 20, he almost had 30 pitches after 1 inning. He had no strikeouts. He had a bunch of guys getting the 2 strike counts, but he just couldn't put them away. And Clayton Kershaw admitted after the game, and we all saw it during the game. Clayton Kershaw, now, what I'm about to say is some people can say, well, he hasn't exactly been all that great in the playoffs, but Clayton Kershaw has never allowed the moment to be too big for him, or he's never gotten sucked into it.
Mm-hmm.
He got sucked into it Wednesday night at Dodger Stadium. Like when he was going out there for his warm up, he got a big standing ovation from the crowd that was already there. He acknowledged the crowd, like the moment really got to him, and he even admitted to it after the game that this was the first time in his career that he was actually trying to strike people out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is crazy to me. A guy that has 3,000 strikeouts, and I said it after the game when I got back to my car later that night. Those might have been the 3 hardest strikeouts of his career to get
Yeah.
because he had, like I mentioned, his pitch count was high. He was clearly nervous. He was clearly feeling the moment. He really wanted it, and it didn't look like it was gonna happen. It really didn't. In the 4th inning, I was standing there telling myself like, this is not happening today. This is not going to happen. He has 1 strikeout through 4 innings. He's at 70 something pitches. And listen, I don't blame the White Sox. I don't blame them for wanting to be the team that Kershaw got his last 3,000 strikeouts against. I get that. But man, like Kershaw had no problem getting the 2 strikes. And then all of a sudden, all of the White Sox hitters turned into Luis Ariz. They were putting, like, Kershaw could have thrown it up here and they were getting the bat on the ball, flicking into left field for a base hit, or just hitting a little pop up into the outfield. So it's the first time I think ever where I've seen fans disappointed when they saw ground balls, like easy ground balls to like Mookie or Muncy. It's like damn, we want strikeouts here, man.
Yeah.
But um, it was so fitting though that on his 100th pitch, he was able to backdoor a slider, which he said after that's not where he wanted it. He missed his location, but it was a beautiful pitch to get a 3,000 strikeout. And I kind of mentioned it to you last week that that's it. Like that is the last accomplishment Kershaw needed to get. He has the Cy Youngs, he has the MVP, he has the no hitter, he has the championships. He has now the 3,000 strikeouts. Like that's it. Like he's done it all. Everything you possibly could do as a pitcher, he's done. He even hit a home run in a game once.
Yeah.
That's how crazy this is. But now he didn't need the 3,000 strikeouts to cement himself into Cooperstown. But when they're reading off his plaque, and it's gonna say 20th person in Major League Baseball history to reach 3,000 strikeouts, that's gonna sound pretty sweet. It really is. And I've been fortunate enough since I started working at Dodger Stadium the last couple years to be in the building for some of his final accomplishments as a Dodger. I was there in 2022 when he became the all-time strikeout leader in Dodger franchise history. I was there in 2023 when he got his 200th career win for his career. And of course, I was there Wednesday night when he got his 3,000th strikeout for his career. So, listen, man, Clayton Kershaw, he's top 5, probably the top favorite Dodger of all time for me. You know, because Clayton Kershaw was literally my childhood. Literally was. Like I told you, like from late elementary school all the way up until now, Clayton Kershaw has been a part of my life for about 20 years, you know? And listen, you know, there's plenty of Dodger fans in this city, but you also get those kids in school that, you know, wouldn't be upset and would be fun to see your team lose. You know, so there was a lot of that. You know, and believe you know I've heard all the jokes. You know, Kershaw chokes in the playoffs and all that, and that's a part of me like why I've had such an emotional connection to Clayton Kershaw because I've seen it all. I've seen it all. I've seen him, you know, have bad postseason losses. You know, the Nationals when he came in into relief, giving up the 3-run homer to Matt Adams in the division series against the Cardinals that ended their season. You know, I've seen, you know, game 5 in Houston in 2017. Now they were cheating, but still, like, it's a stain. Like, I've seen it all with this guy, man. And, you know, but I've also seen the good. I've seen the no hitter. I saw the home run he hit on opening day, you know, the championships, even though he wasn't a part of it in 2024, still. Um, and so it's been really cool the last, I'd say maybe 2 years, get his flowers, you know, not just with baseball, but within the Dodgers, you know. Um, it's been of a lot of emotional moments with this guy the last couple of years. Like I said, 3,000 strikeouts, you know, the 200th career win, the all-time strikeout leader in Dodger history, and he finally got his due last November when we won the World Series and he had the parade. You know, he that was one of that got me emotional. I was crying again Wednesday, you know, when that happened. But then I was crying at the parade last year because here's this guy that has dedicated his whole life to the Dodgers, and we the Dodger fans never had their chance to really express themselves how they felt. Now listen, he's had many great regular season moments where the Dodgers, you know, give him a standing ovation after 7 scoreless or something like that where he does something great. But when the Dodgers won last year and we were at the parade and Clayton Kershaw took the mic and started talking, he got a standing ovation. Like that's so it's just been cool the last couple years to see Clayton Kershaw get his flowers and get his due from the Dodger fans and from all of baseball. And it was one of those nights where I was lucky to be in the building, man. And you know, I'll always, you know, hopefully, well, because I am going to Cooperstown when Clayton Kershaw gets inducted with my jersey that I've had all my life, and you know, it's gonna be pretty cool because like I said, I've seen um, pretty much almost all of his career, and it's all been with my team. So that's been really cool. It's like, and you know, there's not too many guys like this in this city. You know, like the one I keep going back to, of course, is Kobe Bryant. You know, he was here for 20 years with the Lakers. You know, we got to see all of it, and Clayton Kershaw kind of the same thing, kind of similar. You know, he's been here for 18 years. We saw him grow up. You know, we've seen him when it was just him and his wife Ellen, you know, together. Now they have like 4 kids and a fifth one's on the way. So we've seen it all, man. And you know, for Clayton Kershaw to get the wide range of his flowers and congratulations, not just with the Dodgers but around baseball Wednesday night and Thursday morning, it was pretty damn cool to see. So congratulations once again, and yeah, that's it. And I hope this isn't the last year, but I think this is it. I was telling everybody that I think he wants to get the 3,000, and that's it. You know, now whether he does a farewell tour, I don't think he will. But if he does, he certainly deserves it to
Yeah.
go to all these different cities and gets the farewell tour. But we'll see. We'll see. He's a very competitive guy. He just got his shoulder redone again. He got his foot redone again because that's what kept him out last year. He might want to stick around for another year or two. I don't know, but we'll see. I know he didn't look great, you know, against the White Sox. He's pitching again right now in a few moments against the Milwaukee. Actually, he's going to pitch tomorrow um, against the Brewers. So we'll see how he looks. But he's looked pretty damn good since his first couple shaky starts after he came back. He's looked pretty good. So we'll see. But just continuing with the Dodgers real quick. Not fun. Not fun. They got absolutely pounded by the Astros all weekend. They lost 18-1 Friday night on 4th of July, which I felt bad for the fans. If it was any other day, those fans would have been out of the building by the 6th inning.
Yeah.
But because there was a huge fireworks show after the game, the Dodger fans and everybody had to stay around. Um, and then they lost Saturday 6-4, and then they lost yesterday 5-1, and they just weren't competitive in any of these games. The main takeaway from me, kind of similar to what you said about your Yankees, we got to get to the All Star break.
Hmm.
Now, it's completely different in my scenario because the Dodgers have a 7 game lead in the division still. They're still record wise the best team in the National League, and I believe they have the best record in baseball. If not, they're a game behind the Tigers for the best record in the sport. But um, a lot of these guys on this team have some nagging injuries. You know, Teoscar Hernandez hasn't been 100% even since he came back from the IL. Now Tommy Edman has been dealing with something. Kike Hernandez is going on the IL with inflation. Um, some of these guys and Freddie Freeman has been dealing with stuff all last this whole season. We just got to get to the All Star break, And a part of me was glad. I know I mentioned a second ago that I wanted every Dodger in the All Star game this year, but I'm kind of glad Mookie and Teoscar didn't get voted in because they need the week off. They
Yeah.
really need the week off. Mookie Betts has not been himself all season long, and like I mentioned, Teoscar Hernandez got off to a pretty good start, then got hurt, and he hasn't been the same since. So, um, I'm not going to overreact like some Dodger fans have done over the weekend, getting swept by the Astros. It's not good that the Dodgers are only 20-21 or 21-20 against teams over 500 this year. That's something that I hope gets fixed as we move along here into the second half of the season. But there's no reason for me to panic. Like if they would have came out that 2 week stretch a couple weeks ago against the Giants and the Padres and not done well, then I would have been concerned. But the
Hmm.
Dodgers played the Padres and Giants pretty well, and they've taken care of business against the other crappy teams, the White Sox, the Nationals. They've done what they have supposed to have done for about a month, and they just had a little hiccup here in the series against the Astros, and hopefully they can get their stuff back in order for the Brewers this week and then the Giants this weekend, and we can go into the break with 60 wins, and we can get rested up because some of these guys really need it. They really really need it, but um, this is all about Clayton Kershaw. It was a celebratory week. It was an awesome night to be there last week. I even kept score. I have the scorecard in my room, and I'm gonna find a place to put that somewhere in my room. But um, yeah, just again, I'm beating a dead horse here. Just get healthy. Just get
Hmm.
healthy. Tyler Glasnow is returning this week, so I'm excited to see that. Blake Trinan is supposed to return soon. Blake Snell is supposed to come back very soon. Just get healthy. That's all I can say. Reinforcements are coming, and just get healthy. And I think this All Star break is going to do wonders for some of these guys that are not going to be going to Atlanta this year. So just get healthy, and I'm not going to overreact. The Dodgers are still 20 games over 500. They still have a comfortable lead in this division. Just had a bad weekend. Just had a bad weekend. You know that's all I can chalk it up to. But
Absolutely.
hopefully the Dodgers get back on the horse this week, and we can close out this first half of the season strong. So there's your Dodger update for you.
Absolutely, man. Yeah,
There you go.
I think that's
Um,
it.
I think that's it, unless you have anything else.
No, I don't think so, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. However you do. Um, follow our stuff as always. We're approaching 28,000 followers, so tell your friends, tell somebody, hey, give us a shot. Give us a shot. Give us a try. You never know. I would like
Absolutely.
to think we're pumping out good stuff. Clearly, otherwise people wouldn't be following us.
Yeah.
Um, thank you again as always, and I'm gonna go to the bathroom and shave.
I
Look
think I
like my
will
old
too.
self again. Yeah, I mean you
Yeah,
look clean from here. I maybe.
it's a little bit there. Not
Oh, okay,
much.
okay,
A little bit.
okay, okay. Take a good look at it one more time because you'll never see it again after this. Um, before we get out of here, real quick, I told my coworkers this, and I'll tell you this too right now.
Uh,
Um, so last year, I got a haircut in August,
uh-huh.
and I told myself, "Don't cut your hair till you're done with the season." And because I was part of me like, hey, because hockey players like to grow their beards for the playoffs, so they don't shave for like 2 months because it's supposed to be like a ritual or good luck. And sure enough, last year it worked for me. Not with this, but with this.
Hmm.
I didn't cut my hair from August. Dodgers won the World Series. I didn't get a haircut until the first week in November. Um, I was telling my coworkers, I'm gonna do that again,
Okay.
but I'm gonna do this too.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna get a haircut and I'm gonna shave somewhere maybe in the beginning, middle of August.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not gonna shave till we're done.
Oh man.
I will not shave or get a haircut until my team is eliminated from the
Okay.
playoffs.
I
Now,
like it.
hopefully, the Dodgers could go on a run again, win the World Series, and you're gonna see me with a thick, full beard and lots of hair on my head in November.
I was
We'll
gonna say
see.
if
But
we see Caveman Mello by the first week of November, we know that the Dodgers have won the World Series.
absolutely. And I will make that sacrifice because I want my team to win again. I want my team to win.
I totally get
I
it.
want I do my little part here. I'll do my part. But the Dodgers got
Absolutely.
to repay me if I'm going to do this. And they did last year, so maybe they'll do it again for me. No.
I like that idea.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching and no more Beard Mellow. Going back to babyface for the time being. Uh we'll see you next week. Adios.